Last time out on the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, there was drama as leader Guy Smith was eliminated in this encounter. Meanwhile, frontrunner Chris West continued his good form and took the championship title, but it would be the new boy, 19-year-old Frank Bird, who would take the win in his stunning red Ford Focus WRC. There are still 7 titles up for grabs. It's crunch time at Cadwell Park.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are joining us back at Cadwell Park for the second time this season for the final round of the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship. I cannot believe we are already at this stage, but the Alan Healy Memorial Rally, ran by Border Motor Club, is definitely not going to disappoint. Chris West might have already claimed that driver's title, but every other class is still very much to play for. Paul, straight over to you.
Thanks, Sam. It's going to be an awesome day with so much yet to be decided. But as Sam said, Chris West is already the champion, so let's catch up with him.
Huge congratulations to our 2019 season winner, Chris West. How are you feeling?
Yeah, really pleased. You know, I want to say a big thanks to Darren, everybody, all the people, marshals that, you know, obviously make all these championships happen. It's been really good again. Obviously all the competitors, you know, they've all really pushed really hard. It's not been an easy season.
Family's always here, aren't they?
Well, that's it, you know. They all come here free of charge, you know. I might buy them a burger, but that's about it. But yeah, you know, it's, yeah, without them I'd be stuffed.
Here's how the Class A entry list is looking, and we've seen some great battles this year, and today it will be all decided. Dale and Andrew Lawson and Craig Aston and Nick Baker will be going at it hard, as they have been all year, so let's see who settles the score. In Class B, Paul Sheard missed the last rally in Anglesey, allowing former champion Ian Woodhouse to sub for him and help co-driver Bruce Lindsay with his championship challenge. He's back now though, and he's looking to take the Class B title in his trusty Mazda MX-5. The competition will be coming from Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish. Class C is going to be a close battle. Ryan Connolly and Chris Allen are well fired up and ready for action, and it's oh so close between them. The Talbot Sunbeam of Kathy Seward, Colin Stevens and Mike English and Andy Robinson. Chris West has already won the title, but co-driver Keith Hounslow still needs a good finish to secure the co-driver honours, having missed the opening round at Oulton Park. Mike Taylor, Kiro Carianti, Stephen and Jack Tilburn will all be in the mix as well as they fight over the runner-up spots. In the D2 class, Peter Smith is once again partnered with Patrick Walsh and will be looking for a good finish after retiring at Anglesey, but will once again have to deal with the young upstart Frank Bird in his Ford Focus WRC with Jack Morton sat next to him. Let's have a look at the stage map for the first 2 stages. The boys and girls will be on the far side of the circuit to start, and they'll be turning right into Charlie straight away. They'll then have to negotiate a chicane before the bridge and then handbrake turn into the pit lane and then up to the upper paddock area. There's loads going on, so let's get it going, and it's Chris West who's first up, fittingly carrying the number 1 as our new champion. Look how foggy it is though, you can barely see what's in front of you. Mind you, I don't think that'll slow him down. He's off to a good start, so Keith has got his title aspirations in good hands. Next up is Peter Smith and Patrick Walsh in the awesome Ford Fiesta R5. A technical problem ruled out Peter in the early stages of Anglesey, and he's now got Patrick back on board as co-driver, and they'll be going for overall honours. The competition will be coming from these lads though. Anglesey winners Frank Bird and Jack Morton. Frank was only testing his Formula Renault single-seater in Barcelona a few days ago, but the weather was better than this, wasn't it? They'd set the fastest time for the first stage by 6 seconds to open up an early lead. Nice work, fella, yes. Nigel Mummery and Fiona Scarrett have gone quietly about their rally in this season, and they found themselves firmly in the championship hunt. So it's safe to say they could do without any hold-ups. Like this, in the middle of the track. Quick, quick, quick! Nigel and Fiona are coming. Nice sportsmanship though, pulling over to see the guys through. We've got a few Subarus out for the final weekend of rallying, and the number 7 of John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton looks brilliant in its classic blue and fluorescent yellow colour scheme, reminding me of my Subaru 22B, although I would have definitely crashed into the barriers by now. Although even with that paint job, it's difficult to see them in this fog. They'd finished the session 3rd fastest in D2 class and 4th fastest overall. The Class A battle was hotly contested, and Dale and Andrew Lawson will be looking for a clean start to the day. They'd end the stage fastest out of the title protagonists. You really can't see that car in the fog, can you? Going on board with Craig Aston and Nick Baker, who are chasing hard. Oh, but this little awkward moment won't help their chances. Well recovered though, lads. Here we go, that's better, but they end the stage 23 seconds behind the Lawsons. If you're going to get it wrong though, do it properly. Yes, nice recovery though, and it's great to see an old Golf out there as well. On to stage 2, and Ray Reid starts it with a bang. Have that. That's one way to do it, although I'm not sure it's recommended by his co-driver. It would have been an impact on the rest of the competitors, however, as Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay would find out. Well done, chaps. Going on board now with Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish as they chase down that Mazda. Unfortunately, as it's been a slow start for them, they would end the stage over 2 minutes behind Paul and Bruce. Anything can happen in motorsport though, as we all know. Mike English, in contrast, was flying in the turquoise Terror. He's absolutely monstering it in that lovely Ford Escort Mark II. He'd finished the stage with a 20-second lead over nearest rival, Ryan Connolly. As if by magic, we go on board with Ryan and co-driver Chris Allen with a great view of the action as they head off the line. He's not hanging around, is he? Sometimes it's the luck of the draw where you catch slower cars, and I'm sure this cost him a few seconds. Now let's check in on that other part of this three-way battle. Kathy Stewart and Colin Stevens. They'd have to deal with the rearranged chicane courtesy of Ray the Hammer Reid. That would cost them time, and they were going for it, as you can see the concentration on Kathy's face as they thread that lovely Talbot Sunbeam through the stage. Beautiful pictures. In a similar car is Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart. They were one of the early runners, so were able to enjoy the chicane before its remodelling. They'd be tied in a battle with the Tilburns and Kiro Carianti for second place in the championship behind Chris West. First blood, however, would go to Mike. That Porsche Cayman goes well round here, and it's very well suited to tarmac. Kiro slices through the chicane, but he'll end the stage 4 seconds slower than the Talbot of Taylor, widening the gap to 8 seconds overall. Stephen and Jack Tilburn were in a hurry as well, following Nigel Mummery through the chicane as they went on to 9th fastest overall, 16 seconds off Taylor and Haggart.
So we are here with Craig Aston and Nick Baker. Guys, the class battle for you, it's really, really good across the board, isn't it? But what are your plans for today with regards to that class battle?
It's going to be really tough for us. I've kind of set out with let's enjoy the day and not think about it too much and just see what happens. I think if I think about it too much, I'm going to overthink it, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4th time for us here, isn't it? So I don't think Craig needs me today. He kind of knows his way around now. I'm just looking out for an MG that's stopped so we get the class win. But I wouldn't want to wish that on him. But no, I think second's in the bag for us, isn't it? So it's just keeping it on the road and getting a finish for us, really.
How are you feeling about it today?
Very comfortable, to be fair. Yeah, when the car works well, we'll be at the front of the class. We'll give it our hardest and make sure we're there. We'll do our bit today, but as you know, for the championship, we need a few others to be less fortunate than us, let's say. So we need a bit of luck today.
Okay, we're here with Ryan Connolly now. Ryan, just tell us a little bit about your class battle.
Go fast, don't crash, make sure the car lasts, and bring a title home. Mike, again, really quick. I'm ahead of Kathy, so it's looking good. I can follow Mike home. Because we had a crank sensor fail at Brands, and so that's going to then obviously be our drop score. That was game over. Diff went at Anglesey, but right at the end, so we managed to drag it across the finish line, and we got scored points for that one, so that's good. So yeah, now at home advantage if there is such a thing. The race Puma she's doing really well. A little bit of a stress to getting the diff sorted out and getting it all in and set up, but yeah, no, I'm excited. It's going to be really good. So if we stay as we are now, then yeah, we should do it. So no pressure. I was trying not to mention it, but you've gone and ruined that for me. So yeah, no, let's bring it home.
Great to hear Ryan so enthusiastic. Here's the Class A standings after 2 stages, and it's Andrew Egger and Alan Jackson who are the early pace setters in their Vauxhall Nova from Dale and Andrew Lawson. Craig Aston and Nick Baker are down to 6th place with an outside championship bet of Adam and Ray Ripper in 4th. In Class B, it's Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay who lead the way with an 11-second lead over Chris Ruck and Steve Harris in the Vauxhall Corsa. Ashley and Jamie are back in 5th place, however, over 2 minutes behind, so they'll have to be looking for a change in form over the next few stages to haul themselves back into contention. It's a very narrow lead for Mike English in Class C of only 3 seconds over the Renault Clio of Royston and Bridge Carey. Ryan Connolly is equal 3rd with Kathy Stewart 12 seconds further back in 7th place. This one's going to be very close. Chris and Keith Hounslow are the runaway leaders at the moment as they have a 44-second lead in Class D1 over Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart, with Kiro Carianti and Simon Coates in 3rd. In D2, it's Peter Smith and Patrick Walsh who lead, with Frank Bird 13 seconds behind in their Ford Focus. We've got a Subaru in 3rd though, in the hands of Paul Kirtley and David Jones, with 2 more in 4th and 5th places. Nigel Mummery and Fiona Scarrett are 7th. Overall, it's Chris West who leads from Peter Smith in 2nd and Frank Bird in 3rd. There's a good mix of D1 and D2 runners in there, but a 17-second lead after only 2 stages is not too bad against the faster machinery. I guess the fog is a bit of a leveller. Stages 3 and 4 are 3.8 miles in length each, with drivers facing the daunting prospect of going the wrong way down the mountain. A steep decline which will leave your stomach somewhere over your head. Chris West continues to lead the rally overall, though he's almost caught out by the slippery conditions as he runs wide on the grass, and again you can see how slippy it is as the car is flat out through the S's sliding around. That is proper commitment. Go ahead, lad. Despite already being crowned champion, it's clearly only flat out for Chris as he tries to help his co-driver Keith Hounslow to the driver's title. Also being caught out by the slippery circuit is Peter Smith, as he and Patrick Walsh run wide as well, though not quite as loudly as Chris did. You can literally hear Peter struggling to get on that throttle as the car twitches and slides around. These drivers making it look easy and relatively straightforward, but at times like these you can see how hard it is and how much talent it takes to drive these cars quickly. A bit of traffic slowing down Frank Bird and Jack Morton, but the duo still managed to record the quickest time on the stage as they recover from time lost when the car stalled under low revs. Let's go on board and see how they find a way past this Proton. I taught him that, good lad. Calm driving there by Frank and sensible driving by Anthony Robinson to pull over where there was space. Traffic management is a unique challenge for the Motorsport News Circuit Rally Championship, and both handled that very well as they lost little time as possible. Jumping back to the battle for the Class D2 Championship, it's Nigel Mummery, and he remained in a prime position to secure honours as he was driving sensibly in these tricky conditions. So easy to fly off the circuit at any time. Pushing hard and keeping the pressure on in their Subaru Impreza were John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton with the 4th quickest time on stage and a good lead over Nigel Mummery if he had any dramas. Showing no signs of their earlier contact with the tyres, Ray Reid and Stuart Anderson Peters were pressing on gamely, but would need misfortune to strike either of their rivals to be able to secure the class title. And indeed, Griffiths and Wetton were catching them on track, which probably wasn't the sight they wanted to see. 2 very different cars in look and sound, but it's great to see a variety of machinery in the championship battles. On to stage 4, and Mike English and Andy Robinson were by far the class of the field in Class C, flying into the lead and keeping the pressure on their rivals to finish well if they wanted to take the title. Second of the championship runners and fourth in class, Ryan Connolly and Chris Allen were focusing hard, as we can see from a couple of great onboard views. That's awesome. I would not want to be on the bottom of that car. That splitter camera really does give a good sense of speed that these drivers carry around these stages. And he got the apexes. Don't expect that from Ryan. It all looks a bit calm, doesn't it, on board? But Ryan and Chris were doing exactly what they needed to do to secure the class championship. Just behind them, though, Kathy Seward and Colin Stevens were pressing on, but it was looking like they'd need a stroke of luck to get that title from Ryan and Chris. Let's go on board with the pair and see the focus on Kathy's face as she hustles that Talbot Sunbeam Lotus around Cadwell Park. Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay were also looking for the Class B championship, but similarly could not relax just yet, nor is it really in Paul or Bruce's nature to ease that Mazda around any venue, is it? Working hard to try and recover lost time from this morning were Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish. Though the looming presence of Andrew and Archie Wishart wasn't helping matters either. Let's go on board and see the pair cope.
Straight through to 9 right. And then 7 left.
Jack Benyon just usually says the car's going to crash in the side of you when he's co-driving for me. Yes, look at that! Nice.
Cheeky, on you go, on you go, on you go, 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 go.
Oh, that's something that you want to see when someone passes you a bit cheekily at a roundabout, isn't it? Anyway, they didn't lose much time and they cracked on through the rally. On to Class A, and Dale and Andrew Lawson were looking strong for the title as well. And as their onboard shows, they weren't taking things too easily. Great stuff from the MGZR, brilliant. All focus and calm on board that Rover. Behind them, Craig Aston and Matt Baker were also pressing on, but it was another case where it seemed that they would require a large bit of luck if they were able to secure the championship title. A bit of traffic on this stage didn't hold the pair up though. A tiny toot of thanks and the pair press on. But check this out for a wild moment for Anthony Allery and Callum Francis just in front of one of our cameras. Change your undies, lads. Let's head over to Sam, who's been talking to some of the championship protagonists.
Lots of pressure actually on this one. But at the same time, I think Ryan's pretty much got it in the bag unless he doesn't finish today. I'm going to struggle to catch him. So although I was leading, I think, I can't remember how many points I was leading going into this round, but actually when you take my drop score off, because I've still got a score to drop, it takes me 2 points behind him. So to actually win the class, I need to be 2 championship points ahead, which I'm going to have to beat Mike English, which isn't going to happen.
Yeah, it's going well today. We were fourth after stage 1, fourth overall on stage 2, keeping us in fourth. On stage 3, we hit a tyre, which bent the front steering, so we dropped down to 14th on stage 3, which put us down to 6th overall. So unfortunately we're behind Cairo Carianti now. Right. We need to pass Cairo to take 3rd overall in the championship. We caught the Proton Millington on the first stage. We took 30 out of him. Okay. So that was a nice feeling to start the event. Slippery stage, 4-wheel drive, so it's good to have world class behind you.
So we're here with Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay. You've already got your class co-drivers win, but Paul, you're having a really good battle with Ashley for your class drivers win, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got to finish, and it's a compromise of whether you be really conservative and just get your class finished, which is obviously need because I've missed 2 rounds for different reasons, or obviously I get legged into, you know, an overall performance with Bruce egging me on. So somewhere in the middle, we'll try and do our best.
So we are here with Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish. Just talk me through your day. How has your day gone today?
It's been quite mixed so far. So on the first stage, someone else had knocked over a post and we drove over it and it was stuck under the car. It was making a bit of a scraping noise, so we thought we might have a puncture, so we had to stop and check, so we lost a lot of time. Stages 3 and 4 have gone a little bit better, but someone just went past us on stage 4 there and then unfortunately went off just in front of us.
You know, we just got to finish and hope other results go our way. So
we are with Chris West and Keith Hounslow. Guys, Chris, you've obviously already got your driver's title, so today it is all about Keith, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and we don't really need to go too mad today. I think a finish is good enough for Keith today, which is good. But you know, we don't come to make the numbers up. We always like to do well. Unfortunately, you know, down to me, I clipped a tractor tyre this morning, which unfortunately has bent the steering rack, and I've had to straighten that. So it's not as good as it could be.
And I mean, it's really impressive as well. You actually missed the first round, and yet you are still on today just with a finish to get your championship title back as well.
Yeah, we've had a lot of outright wins, which has helped. But yeah, that's right, podium every time. But we still just need to get through today. Yeah.
Nice work as ever, Sam. You could probably run this show on your own, to be fair. On to stage 5 now. 4.6 miles to tackle before the mid-rally turnaround. 3 laps of another configuration to find the best route through, and it won't be easy. Kiro Carianti and Simon Coates were second of the D1 runners and in a prime position for third place overall in the championship. They've been steadily getting quicker in that Porsche Cayman all-season run. Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart, who we've just heard from, were 4 seconds behind their rivals at this stage, so it's really in anyone's guess who'll be in the final spot. Though the pair have done very well to claw their way back into this. Just a few seconds behind Mike and Martin, Stephen and Jack Tilburn were doing just what they needed to do to secure second in the overall championship. Another pair who were balancing their instinct to drive quickly with the desire to bring the car home and take the necessary points. So after 5 stages, Andrew Egger and Alan Jackson have been flying at the head of Class A, but Dale and Andrew Lawson are on course to take the championship title. Craig Aston and Nick Baker are a minute and a half behind their rivals, so have plenty to do this afternoon. Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay remain quickest in Class B, though Chris Rook and Stephen Harris are hot on their heels. With those earlier dramas, Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish are over 3 minutes down and in need of some serious luck to snatch that title away. As we've seen, Mike English and Andy Robinson are absolutely flying in Class C, but Royston and Bridge Carey are keeping pace with the Escort duo. Ryan Connolly and Chris Allen are doing exactly what they need to do in order to take the championship title, but Kathy Seward and Colin Stevens aren't too far behind either. In Class D1, Chris West and Keith Hounslow are on the course for a perfect season. But look at that, just 9 seconds covering Kiro Carianti and Simon Coates, Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart, and Stephen and Jack Tilburn, who are all fighting for 2nd, 3rd and 4th in the overall championship standings. In Class D2, Frank Bird and Jack Morton have regained the lead by 2 seconds, but will that anti-stall sensor issue slow them down again? John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton are keeping the pressure on Nigel Mummeray and Fiona Scarrett, so that's another championship battle that's simply too close to call. In the overall times, it's extremely close between the top 3, and once again, there is a close battle between the D1 runners for the championship positions. We've had 5 great stages of action so far, so let's take a look at the plan for stages 7 and 8. They'll once again be starting on the far side of the circuit, but turning left and heading down the park straight. It's then up to the cafe, turn down the hill and rejoin the track through the pit lane. The final lap will see them go through the paddock and then finish in the top corner after a long straight blast. It looks like it should be a quick one. We've got a good crowd here for the final, so let's get to it. We're going to focus on the Class B title battle here, and Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay have got a good lead, but rivals Ashley Morris and Jamie McTavish were still in with a chance, and they'll be digging deep all the way. That was until disaster struck when they went straight through the fence on the downhill run, which forced them into retirement. Extensive damage to the front of the car meant they were out on the spot, and their chances of a title would have to wait until next season. Let's catch up with your Class B champion, Paul Sheard.
Very good year. It's been really good. Yeah, it's been good, and obviously upset that Ashley's had an accident, but we would have been okay anyway as it worked out. So yeah, it's great to have won Class B, having missed 2 rounds, and it's great for Bruce to have got 3rd overall, which is really credible, really. You know, that's really put him on a pedestal where he should be.
You are everywhere, though, aren't you? You are everywhere.
I get where gas wouldn't, I'll tell you. Yeah. I've had quite a busy year, but The first full championship really, and alongside Paul, I've had a cracking year. Absolutely brilliant, yeah.
Well done, boys. Looks like you're trying to sell Sam a Saga holiday there. Looking at the D2 Championship battle, John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton have been strong contenders all year in their lovely Subaru Impreza, throwing it around the track. That four-wheel drive system doing a great job of keeping them on track, but maybe it could do with a bit of ABS next season. It'll be a tight battle in the final few stages as John gives it his all. Nigel Mummery and Fiona Scarrett have been having a great run since they got going at Brands Hatch, and they've always been in the mix. As has the Audi Quattro of Ray Reid when he hasn't been remodelling the circuit. The classic Audi is stunning, and hearing it chattering away as they go for it is ace. But they have a big gap to overcome if they're going to beat Nigel and John. Oh, getting it a bit too enthusiastic as he fights for the overall lead is Frank Baird. He'd recover from this stall and get the car going again, but it would cost him 21 seconds, and he'd have to concede the D2 lead once again to Peter Smith. Let's go on board with him as he gets back up to speed. This is a great view as he wrestles the car around the track. Frank wouldn't be the only one getting it a bit wrong at the hairpin. He was in good company, as a few others also come unstuck. Oh, what? Beep beep. Going on board now with Dale and Andrew Lawson as they take on the paddock section of the track. How tight is that? They've been going well all day, and whilst the Vauxhall Nova of Andrew Egger and Alan Jackson have had the measure of them in the rally at this point, leading by over a minute and a half, Dale and Andrew have their eyes on the prize. They don't need to beat that Nova, they just need to beat this car of Craig Aston and Nick Baker. Craig and Nick have driven brilliantly all season and have put up a real fight. Some rallies they've been unstoppable, but today they just don't seem to have that extra bit required to take the fight to the others. They'd finished the stage 6 fastest, 4 minutes off the lead and 2 minutes off the Lawsons. Sam's in the paddock with Dale and Andrew, so let's hear what they've got to say.
So guys, you are in a really, really good position right now, aren't you? I mean, you are, fingers crossed, I don't want to jinx it, so I don't want to say it, but you're in a really good position, aren't you?
I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. That's my problem, is I'm enjoying it too much that I'm just carrying on pushing and pushing when technically I should just try and get it to the end and hopefully for the championship points. So, but it's just too much good fun at Cadwell.
Yeah. Yeah.
We enjoy ourselves, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But, as long as we get to the finish, we should be okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, boys. If the title was to be won on hats, you'd definitely win it. But look at this Class C battle we've got. It's brewing. And at the end of Stage 5, it's this car of Mike English and Andy Robinson who had a 7-second lead over Royston Carey, and that hasn't changed much since. The real fight, though, is for title honours, and they're going to do the maximum. The problem is that both Ryan Connolly and Kathy Stewart have done enough to beat them in the championship battle. All they can do is carry on leading the way and hope something happens to their rivals. Ryan Connolly and Chris Allen have been showing controlled aggression all day in their brilliant-looking Ford Puma. They've been 4th on the road, but that's enough for their title aspirations. So let's join them on board from this amazing camera position on the front of the car. Kind of reminds me of that classic film Rendezvous, just set in Lincolnshire, not Paris. Chasing Ryan hard here is Kathy in her Talbot Sunbeam. She'd have to give it everything over the final few stages to overhaul the gap to Ryan and take the Class C title. Meanwhile, Chris West and Keith Hounslow have maintained their healthy lead over the pack in their Peugeot 306 Maxi, finishing stage 7 with a 22-second lead over Peter Smith and Patrick Walsh. The beautifully liveried blue Ford Fiesta chatters as it heads through the Cadwell Park scenery. Let's join Frank Bird on board once again as he takes us for a ride around the stage. Really getting a feeling for the ups and downs of Cadwell Park. Wheel spin over the top of the mountain. Whoa. They would gain time back on Peter and Patrick as the fight for D2 honours hots up after losing the lead on stage 6 after their stall, but overhauling a 21-second gap could be a big ask with only a few stages to go.
So we are here with Stephen and Jack Tilburn. Talk me through your day.
Yeah, so it's all about the championship, which is really odd. We are genuinely driving for the championship because we're in quite a good position. Don't like driving like it. I'd rather be, cracking on for the proper finish, but yeah, we're just a little bit backing off to keep it going.
You are both going for second overall in, drivers obviously and co-drivers. You're both sitting quite well for that, aren't you?
Yeah. Might get some silverware out of it then.
Great stuff. Let's take a look at the stage plan for the final 2 stages. In a stage slightly longer than the previous 2, the cars will undertake 2 entire laps of the circuit, driving through the pits for a bit of variety. They'll end the stage heading out of the top corner and along the long straight out the back to finish. With the battle for D1 and overall podium honours still up for grabs, we're going to focus on this fight, which is getting very intense. Mike Taylor lost some ground in the last few stages, with Kiro Carianti taking a couple of seconds out of him to extend his lead. But it was this close, so close. Mike is going hell for leather in that Talbot, and he needs to, because they are getting chased hard by these 2 boys in the Ford Escort. Stephen and Jack Tilburn have been setting near identical stage times to Mike and Kiro. This is going to be so close, with absolutely no room for error. Kiro Carianti and Simon Coates came into this stage with a slim 2-second lead, but with nothing between their contenders, they would have to work hard. The Porsche holding the road beautifully, but could that be the error that costs them? We're talking only 2 seconds here, and it's amazing to think we have 3 completely different cars all trading times. It's unbelievable. As the times will show, they'll match each other to the second. Proving how hard it is out there, John Griffiths shows off his battle-scarred Subaru as he sets his times. Let's have a look at the results so far then. In Class A, the Vauxhall Nova of Andrew Egger and Alan Jackson has a very healthy 2-minute plus lead over Dale and Andrew Lawson. Adam and Ray Ripper, who have an outside chance at the championship, are third, with Craig Aston and Nick Baker back in 5th place. In Class B, well, it's heartbreak for Ashley and Jamie as they crash out of the rally and the championship, leaving Paul Sheard and Bruce Lindsay an untroubled run to the flag. They've still got a finish mind. Chris Ruck and Steve Harris still lead the way in their Vauxhall Corsa. The gaps are close in Class C. Mike English and Andy Robinson have an 8-second lead over Royston and Bridge Carey. Looking down the order, we find Ryan in 4th and Kathy in 6th. 49 seconds the gap between them. It's going to be nail-biting for the stage finish at the end. In D1, Chris West has a clear lead, but look at 2nd, 3rd and 4th. Our 3 rivals for the runners-up spot, Mike Taylor, Stephen Tilburn and Kiro Carianti, are all tied on the same time. How mad is that? After a whole day of rallying, it will all be decided in the final 6 miles. Finally, in the D2 class, we've got Peter Smith out front, but only by 7 seconds from Frank Bird. This last stage is going to be epic. In third place, it's John Griffiths, with Nigel Mummery lurking around in fifth place. Overall, there's only 29 seconds separating the top three. Chris West leads it by 22 seconds from Peter Smith and Patrick Walsh, with Frank Bird in third. This is going to be too close to call. Chris West and Keith Hounslow have led all the way through the day, with the exception of stage one. Their day sums up their season with blinding speed and commitment. The result is a perfect score, the first time in the championship history, with drop scores taken into account. Frank Bird has driven impressively all day, and with the exception of a stall earlier in the afternoon, it's been a perfect run. Let's enjoy one last on board with him. With co-driver Jack Morton, the duo would put in a superb performance in the final stage to overhaul Peter Smith and claim the D2 honours by just 1 second. Peter Smith has been quick all year, and Anglesey, he had to give his son, the Le Mans winner Guy, a run for his money. He looked like he had the measure of Frank, but he would have to settle for third place.
Huge congratulations, guys. You have done it. You've both retained your championship titles. I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Yeah. Oh, this is the first time I've ever known Chris West speechless.
It's been eventful today. Yeah. Probably one of the hardest rallies, to be fair. The car is very worn out. So, yeah, I'm really pleased. I didn't think I was going to get to the end. So. Yeah, I was worried about him. That's the problem.
And for you to get your championship title as well.
That's all I wanted, but to beat this as well is a real bonus, yeah. Yeah, it was touch and go, but we got there in the end.
It's been a brilliant day, really. We've won almost every stage again, same as Anglesey, and then had a few mistakes. I think it was stage 5, a little issue with the handbrake, but managed to recover it back and win every stage after that. So it's been good.
2 stages today, just had about, I think in total about 5 stalls within 2 stages. That sort of lost us the win really, but then since then we were on a mega push to try and claw the time back to Peter, and we managed to do it. But I say it's only his 3rd rally and he's still learning, so we can't really grumble at a second as well. So.
Yeah, no, it was good day today. Good battle with those two. And as I said to you, it's a good job that they both beat me, isn't it? Because they couldn't have an old file like me winning them, could they? So no, good day. Good to be with Patrick as ever. Guides me around really well.
I think Peter does okay on his own, to be honest. Pleasure to be in the car with him again.
The battle for overall position in the championship was still blazing, and the Tilburns were as committed as ever. They know they have to make it count and break the deadlock. Kiro Carianti and Simon Coates also knew was at stake, so much so that they would set an identical time to the Ford Escort of the Tilburns. Incredible that they would finish with the same stage time after a whole day. Setting a time just 3 seconds slower in the final stage meant Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart would fall out of the battle and finish the rally 7th overall. Nigel Mummery and Fiona Scarrett were late additions to the championship, starting in earnest at Brands Hatch, but have run consistently throughout the championship and picked up points at every opportunity. Points mean prizes, and for Nigel, it means the D2 title. A notable mention goes out to John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton on their brilliant run. They finished the day 4th overall and 3rd in the D2 category. Mike English and Annie Robinson have been the Class C pace setters all day and have done nothing wrong. I'll never tire of seeing this beautiful turquoise Ford Escort charging around the stages. It just sounds mint. Ryan Connolly and Chris Allen have done exactly what they needed to do at their home track. Hopes were high coming in, and Ryan has been doing the maths since Anglesey, so he knew what was required, a deserving champion. That's great to see. Well done, boys. Sadly for Kathy Stewart, she would not be able to overcome the gap to Ryan and would have to settle for 6th on the road and 2nd in the championship. She's been a good old crack and a great sportsman, even though I've mispronounced her name about 50 times. In Class A, it's the mighty MG of Dale and Andrew Lawson who would take top honours after a brilliant day and a brilliant season. That just says it all. Good lads. Going on board with rivals Craig Aston and Nick Baker, we can see they were trying as hard as they could right to the very end and giving that Toyota Yaris all that it got.
Amazing team, father and son, Stephen and Jack Tilburn, 2nd overall in the championship. I mean, how are you feeling about that?
Oh, elated. Don't say too much, I'll start crying. Fun, really good. I mean, the car's been reliable, we've been consistent, and it's paid off in the long run. Missed around in Knock Hill, so we had to do it today, and we did it in style. It was really good, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's the biggest trophy we've got on the wall at the minute, because the rest of them are getting dusty, so we need one to polish a bit better than the rest of them.
You know, we're walking between the paddocks saying, oh, what are we going to do now? Yeah. And to go into the last stage with everybody on the same time is just unbelievable. And me and Mike had to fight it between ourselves. That was basically what today was about.
We missed D2 champion Nigel Mummery at the track, but we gave him a call instead.
I knew it was very close at the end. The engine was rebuilt, so that's why there was the delay. It was rebuilt, and therefore I wasn't out until the first part of this year. Yes, I had a steering rack problem as well at Snetterton, so that's why I didn't finish. Yeah, I was pretty chuffed. Yeah, pretty chuffed.
Today we fine. Car was absolutely perfect. Yeah, just steady away in the morning, bring it on, quicker than Mike in a couple of stages, and then gearbox issue. So we finished 4th in class, but importantly 2nd for the championship, and then with that unassailable. So yeah, with that, yeah, we took the title. So that, yeah, brilliant. You know, and from that the championship. So obviously Darren and everyone at Motorsport News that put this together, brilliant championship.
You've completely smashed your class. How are you feeling?
Sort of, it's not sunken in quite yet, but that's been brilliant. All the hard work and time and effort we put into the car over the last few months has finally all been worth it. Yeah. So the last stage I did have to back off a little bit just because I was just desperate to get to that finish and just get the result, and yeah, just over the moon now. It's great, thank you.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year. It's been it's not a year, but it's been a long graft really. We've travelled all over, and obviously we're in East Norfolk, and to travel to Anglesey was like 7 hours, but yeah, it was worth it. It's been good fun. We've met some really good friends. We've had some good banter among our class, and like today, 1st, 2nd, 3rd in class, we were all alongside each other. It's been good.
In Class A, it's a win for Andrew Egger and Alan Jackson, who've been untouchable all day, and they take the win in their Vauxhall Nova by nearly 3 minutes from new champions Dale and Andrew Lawson, with Adam and Ray Ripper rounding out the podium finishes. Chris Ruck and Steve Harris take a well-deserved win in Class B ahead of Chris Gravestock and Mark Harmer in 2nd. My mate Paul Sheard takes 3rd and the title with co-driver Bruce Lindsay. Well done guys, I told you it was a winning car. Mike English and Andy Robinson win by just 5 seconds from Royston and Bridge Carey in the Renault Clio, with Roland and Stuart Brown 3rd ahead of the title protagonists. Chris West takes another D1 victory with a gap of over 2 minutes to 2nd place Mike Taylor and Martin Haggart. Stephen and Jack Tilburn set an identical time to finish 3rd. Just brilliant. In Class D2, well, how about that? Frank Bird and Jack Morton win by 1 second. Peter Smith and Patrick Walsh are a deserving 2nd, with John Griffiths and Nigel Wetton in 3rd. In the overall results, we got used to seeing Chris West and Keith Hounslow at the top of the standings, and so it only seems right that they take the spoils, having won the driver and co-driver titles. It's a great drive from teenager Frank Bird to take 2nd, with the old charger Peter Smith in 3rd. In the Class A Championship, the Lawsons take 1st and 2nd ahead of Nick Baker and Craig Aston in 3rd and 4th places, with Adam Ripper 5th. Bruce Lindsay wins Class B with Paul Sheard second on account of him missing the Anglesey round. He's a good lad, Paul, always keeps his clients happy and lets them win. Ashley Morris takes 4th place, and I'm sure she'll be back better and stronger next year. Ryan Connolly wins the Class C driver standings with Cathy Seward second. Congratulations to Colin Stevens, who takes top co-driver honours. In D1, Chris West and Keith Hounslow share top honours with Jack Tilburn third, just ahead of his dad Stephen in 4th. Simon Coates takes 5th place with Mike Taylor 6th. Jack Morton is Class D2 champion, having shared with John Stone earlier in the season and most recently successful with Frank Bird. Top driver in class goes to Nigel Mummery in his Ford Focus. In the Pro Tyre Championship, there is some consolation for Cathy Seward, who takes the title from Paul Sheard and Ryan Connolly. It's nice to see Joshua Davey in there as well, having driven so fantastically this year in his Darien T90. Chris West also wins the Michelin Cup with Mike Taylor second and Ryan Connolly completing the top 3. Nice to see the Class B frontrunner Paul Sheard and Ashley Morris scoring well. In the overall championship, Keith Hounslow takes the title for co-drivers with Jack Tilburn and an impressive second with Bruce Lindsay third. Class A title winner Andrew Lawson finishes 6th overall. Chris West is the 2018-19 champion with Stephen Tilburn second, which is just brilliant. Kiro Carianti is third after that nail-biting final few stages where it looked like no one wanted to give up or take the lead. That's it for another action-packed season of the Motorsport Rally Championship. Join us again soon.